They say the boy fresher than he ever been. So wavy, moving numbers like Aerosmith, moving units, moving through music, glasses in the air, celebrate. This is the ace of spades.
But yeah, listen. So I was out and about earlier. Actually, I was out and about 15, 20 minutes ago. And I'm sitting up here, I'm walking my dog, and I'm listening to this particular podcast. And I'm sitting up here listening to this information. And some of the information is kind of going over my head. But I know if I keep on listening, I'm sure, I'm going to understand as I go along. I'm just that type of person. And it just made me think, how much information do you listen to, whether it's on a daily basis, whether it's for a moment, it doesn't matter. Quiet. No matter how many times you listen to this information or how you listen to this information, at what point do you say, I quit? I don't understand it. Regardless if the information is beneficial and it means something to, or it may mean something to your future, right? How many times do you stop that process? Do you just quit and just say, forget it? It's not for me, right? And because I was listening to this information, the podcast I was listening to, it was some valuable information. They were talking about real estate and the financial markets that we're in right now. And I'm getting a better understanding when they're talking about percentages, APR rates, the way it is now, the comparisons between 2007 and now, and even times that were before that, what the mortgage rates were before as opposed to what they are now, and how with the correlation between all that information. And I'm saying to myself, man, some of this stuff is quite honestly, I understand some of it now because I've been, conditioning myself for quite a few years now. But I remember there was a time where I really didn't understand this information at all. I didn't understand anything about percentages, mortgage, the difference between mortgage and renting. Well, I kind of understood that part, but what is the value of it? How do you come up with the numbers? What is the NOIs? What is the cash cap? What are the things that I need to know about it? And it made me think about other things like news, information that we receive on a daily basis, but we just, we discard it. Like what's going on in the world today? We got some wars going on right now. One in particular between Israel and the Palestinians, or the Hamas, right? Now, I'm not going into the information about it, but or even Ukraine and Russia, and so forth and so on. So many countries. What is the reason behind the wars? Why are we in the financial crisis that we're in right now? What is a GOP, right? What is with regards to our government institution? What is the left side? What is the right side? You may not know the difference between those things, and quite honestly, I'm not going to engage in what's the difference between one and the other. But my point is, when I first heard a lot of that information or any of that jargon, I just didn't understand it. And what made me come back to it? Because I knew I was going to be engaged in conversations. I may find myself engaged in conversations with people, and you never feel like they're having a conversation about something, and because you don't know or you're not knowledgeable about the information, you feel kind of dumbfounded, or you feel out of place or out of sorts. They may be having an intellectual conversation, but you just don't feel like you fit in, right? One way to adapt is just get in where you fit in. Keep on going over the information. What I learned to do over the years is just keep showing up. Just because you don't understand something today, it does not disqualify you for what your future may bring. You understand what I'm saying? I hope you understand and hear me clearly. I don't care if it's finances. I don't care if it's politics, religion. I don't care if it's something that has to do with homes or houses or apartments, love, relationships, family, children. Just because you don't know something today, Don't disqualify yourself because of lack of knowledge or information that you may be afforded right now. What you do is you keep on learning, you keep showing up. Growing up, we didn't have YouTube or Google for that matter. You actually had to go to the library, or you had to really search for the information. And I'm glad when I grew up in elementary school, they would teach us how to go to the library, how to create these book reports, and really peel through the layers. We had to go through multiple books to get a lot of information, and sum all that information up into small statements or small paragraphs. And it had to be, it had to be structured accordingly. So I had to find the information on how we're going to make this essay work, or how this book report was going to work. And getting older, as I went through college, I had to learn how to make bigger book reports, period, bigger essays, 20 and 30, 40 pages. And you had to do your due diligence when it came to finding that research. But the point is, just because you have lack of knowledge of information today, and you may not understand all the ins and outs, the nooks and crannies, don't disqualify yourself early. Because I tell you what, the more you show up, the more you read, the more you approach or engage in the information, the more you find circles or networks of people that are engaged in whatever topic that may be of an interest of yours, but you just quite don't know the information. Wealth communities, whatever those communities are, the more you show up and engage in conversation, it'll start to click and make sense. It's much like a person that wants to learn how to play a basketball, football, soccer, football, right? Volleyball, any particular type of sport. At first, you don't know, but you know those people are over there having a good time. They understand the lingo, the jargon. It looks cool. So as human beings, we're creatures of nature, right? We're creatures of our habitat and our environment, and what our peers are doing within the areas that we may be living in, environments, neighborhoods, so forth and so on. You want to find yourself in those circles because you don't want to be an outcast or a social square, so to say. Maybe you're that type of person, or maybe you're just so much of an introvert because of fear, and you'd rather be in your isolated bubble. But I'm here to tell you, it's nothing wrong with getting out of that bubble. How do you get better in basketball? You continue to show up. How do you prove your value on that court or football when you're on that field? Is how you show up. The bold, courageous. You may be too short, and you got to pay with these guys that are taller, bigger. They may be faster than you, but you may be smarter. You may be wittier. So you got to find your niche. You may be a fighter or a boxer, and people may be bigger than you. I can relate to it because I'm short, and a lot of people are bigger than me. However, that doesn't stop me. Actually, that builds my heart, my courage up, my momentum up. That's physical exertion. Sometimes people may find it easier to work on their physical well-being and their physical being the jock, but not having the mental capabilities of holding conversations or being able to complete the task or work because of procrastination. There's other factors that play a part. What I'm saying is, don't disqualify yourself from opportunities you qualify yourself for, that you can qualify for. If there's books out there for you to read, go ahead and read it. Just because you don't understand it, you find yourself maybe falling asleep, then you got to come up with different tactics or methods that's going to allow you to stay up a little bit longer. Maybe you just don't read a full chapter. Maybe read a small portion. Read it in parts. Read one section, come back, relax, stretch, stand up, walk about, come back and read the next, right? What you're really looking to do is build up that muscle. And I hope, I don't know, I'm not saying, I don't believe I'm saying anything that you may not know already, but for those that don't know already, and for those that do know, but they may not be following through on the processes of learning, go back to the basics. Reading wasn't always my strong area of expertise. However, what I learned how to do is do it in spurts, do it in moments. Get yourself involved in book clubs. See, when other people are discussing certain portions in book clubs and things of that nature, or the chess club, so to say, when people are engaged in those areas, if you find yourself in that circles, it may encourage you more to show up and to be attentive and to respond, because the goal is to be stretched, to be pushed and motivated. So again, man, I was just sitting out there. I mean, I was out and about and just walking and just thinking, man, I really don't understand all this information, as I said earlier. And I thought, man, I think that would be a good quick point or conversation to have real quick. Let me go live real quick. So that's just food for thought. Listen, I don't care what's happening in the world. There's information. It's free. Information is free. All you have to do is raise your hand, show up continuously until you begin to understand. You didn't first understand the job that you was doing. If you're working, if you're in school, you didn't understand the information until you continued to show up. Either way, you just continue to show up. The relationships that you may have been in your lifetime, right? Whether it's an intimate relationship or whether it's just a friendly relationship, it didn't get better the first day. The best times, it happened over time where the memories are created. The same thing goes with the education that you continue to push inside of your brain. It will help increase your diction. So if you don't understand certain words, I used to go to the library. I go to the library or go get my dictionary real quick so I can understand the words. Nowadays, you can just go to Google or pull up your smart device and ask your smart device, hey, what's the definition of, or what does it mean if, and you can get all the information you need right there. And if you have a hard time with remembering all that information, then put yourself in a place where you can just write down the information. These are just a few nuggets that I've accumulated over time that helped me advance, that helped increase my diction and help increase my, listen here. Put this down. I'm at to mute my sound on my phone. But it helped increase my flow, the traffic of information. So don't be afraid. You're not doing anything wrong. Just continue to show up, and so that you can be a better version of yourself today, so that you can be a better version of yourself tomorrow, right? Continue to show up for yourself. I always say, listen, never miss an opportunity that you qualify for, or never miss an opportunity that you can qualify for. But what disqualify you is just quite simply if you don't show up. My name is Dre Lavelle, the Bread Talker. I appreciate you guys tuning in. If you like the information that you just heard, and if it was of a benefit for you, listen, like it, comment, leave something down below. Show me some love, right? Share the information. There may be somebody out there, maybe this information, it may have not been for you. I'm guessing it is. Share it, because there's somebody out there who's learning that may need to hear it, right? To be better. Again, my name is Dre Lavelle, the Bread Talker. Tune in anytime. You can find me on IG or Instagram. I am_Bread Talker, or you can just go to YouTube and look for the Bread Talk Investors, or of course on Facebook, the Bread Talk. Looking forward to connecting with you. Maybe we can do some business. Enjoy the rest of your day.